Es el Super Bowl. Es el Super Bowl de los Estados de México. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh no. So yeah, yesterday was the big game. And obviously this is just for jest, for fun, for little funsies. Making fun of the fucking stupids out there who think that Babuni, Senor Babuni, is from Mexico. So yesterday was the Super Bowl. A grand day for America. A grand day for Americans of all kinds. And we had a lot of fun stuff. A lot of fun stuff that came from that. Most principally, for anyone who did not know, the great people over at the TPUSA, they had a little problem with our boy Babuni having their own little halftime show. So they made their own, the TPUSA halftime show. And let me tell you, what a fun time it was. Now, I had it pulled up myself because obviously I had to. There was just no way I couldn't. And I did see there's some fun stuff. They had their ads playing earlier in this broadcast, and which was, you know, a great joy to see.
Actually go into the places, get the people that people do not want to touch, spend the time, the resources, invest in.
Every year we add something.
And this is what I saw. Saw this lady coming up and caressing a photo of Africa Kirk. It was great.
New, another dream, another voice, another story.
Welcome to the comeback of Gold Star Science, Beauty, and Backbone. Welcome home.
Teach your children how to blaze a trail of glory. Go lead in truth, go be the light.
Bold, visionary, God-fearing women, all shaping who we are. This summit isn't changing, we do it for her.
Dude, all in praise of, what is it? Where is it? She must have an ad. She's got to have an ad here somewhere for it.
Grew comfortable and quiet when the lost walked by unseen. And
I gotta say, I love how they kept the ads in in the street highlight. That rocks, dude. I love her so much.
heaven felt far away. In that silence, worldly living was celebrated, truth was ignored, and people faced eternity separated from God.
We as Christians are called to...
Wait, were they calling this out as like bad?
When believers grew comfortable and quiet, when the lost walked by unseen, and heaven felt far away. In that silence...
Oh man, I love them.
Worldly living was celebrated, truth was ignored.
Hey, yes, dude. Yo, bringing the truth was ignored with the masks on. That rocks, frankly. I think that.
And people faced eternity separated from God.
We as Christians are called to go into the public arena.
Dude, It will never not be funny to me, the fact that like conservatives during COVID were just thinking that the masks mandates were the biggest infringement on your personal rights, but not getting upset at an actual Gestapo force walking around certain parts of the country asking you for your fucking papers. Dude, they rock, man. The conservative brain is truly, it must be studied for future generations. The 80-year-olds who sit on Fox News in their recliner chairs and just watching that shit all day, they need to study. They need to donate their brains to science, because that we need to know how to avoid such things. Because my God, man, that is so
arena to correct error with truth. And there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
But now the church awakens. She remembers the gospel. She sees the lost.
Nature that conservatives would love to destroy.
And she rises. Lord, use us, wretched sinners we are, to bring forth your gospel to every city, every campus, every school, every workplace, to take the message of Jesus Christ into whatever sphere we are in. We are called to share your truth, that eternal punishment is real, but your forgiveness is greater. That our sin can... That eternal punishment is real, but your forgiveness. Use us, Lord, to make heaven crowded.
Dude, Erica Kirk, she's pulling out with the M4 in every stadium. She's gonna make that shit crowded. You must forego your bodies, brethren. But yeah, they basically just did like a piece of shit show. Oh, god damn. Oh my god. Bro, they kept in, what is this? 40 over half the video was not the halftime, but yeah, I tuned into this during the halftime show, praying that they would have an AI Charlie Kirk. Wait, hold on. Wait. Was I wrong?
My kids are my most important thing in my world. My wife, my kids, my relationship with God. Top 3 things.
Speed that shit up or something? What was that?
And the more often that you choose the deep, the difficult, but the right path over the easy path is one that will reward you, your family, and this beautiful nation.
She had to put herself in every picture. Yes! Yes. But anyway, why did the beautiful people at TPUSA make this glorious video? Well, they made it because a certain man by the name of Babuni had a Super Bowl halftime show, and it was a very good show. I enjoyed it. I appreciate he didn't just have like his song playing and actually sang it. That was a nice little change of pace. The set was great. It was very complex. The camera work was great. That little segment where he's going like and I thought it was a great little celebration of Latino, Puerto Rican culture, and the people who comprise this beautiful nation of ours, including Puerto Rico, which a lot of people found out was part of this beautiful nation yesterday. Yeah, he sang his music, and I don't really listen to him. I know he plays on the radio, and I try to avoid it as much as I can because the radio is a horrific place of just top dog law ads.
I don't know if this is karma. Honestly, I don't know what this is. I went to the store today and got into an accident. Doctors telling me I may not ever be able to work again in my life. My mom is telling me everything gonna be all right. She called Top Dog. Wife telling me we about to be rich. Brother telling me you about to be a millionaire. Like I give a fuck some money right now. You know I'm paralyzed. You know I'm paralyzed from the neck down from this accident. All I did was try to go to the store. And y'all talking to me about some money. I don't give a...
Yeah, it was a fine show. I didn't have a problem with it. I have a lot of conservative reactionary friends. I watched the show. I watched the Super Bowl with them, and they also seemed to like it. Despite that, TPUSA decided to have generational pettiness and have their own halftime show. But I found it to be very funny, the general reaction that a lot of people had leading up to that Super Bowl since the announcement of Bad Bunny as the halftime performer, and both afterwards. A lot of great stuff coming out. A lot of people demonstrating the fact that they are not aware that Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States, so it is part of this beautiful, great, luscious land that we call the United States of America. Despite it not being an actual state, they can't vote for who the president is, but yet they are under our control, which is a very nice and not fucked up thing that we do for some reason. And people, you know, will still go vacation there. Why not? Fuck it. But a lot of people found that out, and also that Bad Bunny is indeed a U.S. citizen, mind you. that man was born, I say it, born as a U.S. citizen. Though he might speak Spanish, Espanol, he is a U.S. citizen through and through, just like anybody else. And there were a lot of people, good-hearted people, who were very upset by this. They were very upset by the fact that the Super Bowl was in a language that scared them, frightens them greatly when they hear it out in the streets. They piss themselves, they shit themselves, they have to call an ambulance because they are just so frightened they might get a heart attack. And one of those great people was Megyn Kelly, and she had a fantastic reaction. Very normal and reasonable and not at all hysteric reaction.
This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos.
I want to send a signal to Americans that the most radical act in a capitalist society is not participation, and that you have power to decide where you want to spend your money and where you don't want to spend your money.
The left wants to tank the U.S. economy in order to punish President Trump for the crime of having been elected by most.
Yo, the left wants to tank the economy. Right. Okay. Yeah, definitely. The people who are struggling want to tank the economy. The economy who's working for who, might I ask? Because it doesn't seem like it's working for a lot of people in this country. I don't know if that's just me or, if that's like a national issue. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. It's definitely not that the left wants for their material circumstances to better in an actual tangible way. Maybe having healthcare or the price of groceries not being through the fucking roof to pay lower rent.
Absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever was the US president's verdict on the...
Dude, this rock. See, I love this. I was waiting for him to tweet this because this to me just confirms that he did not watch that piece of shit TPUSA. He was watching Babooni. But yeah, man, our God King had to make his presence known. And he said, the Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. It makes no sense, is an affront to the greatness of America, and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Dude, the way he capitalizes certain words is so funny. The greatness of America. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. This show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market and 401ks in history. Dude, he must have personal access. Because does his phone not show him to correct those things? There is nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show. And watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue of what's going on in the real world. Yeah, brother, definitely. When you're talking about this country being great because it's got the best stock market and 401ks in history, when the stock market is 90% of it is concentrated within 10% of U.S. households. You definitely know what's going on in the real world for sure. I mean, he does. He just doesn't give a fuck. But then at the end, he throws in a quick little legitimate thing. He's like, and by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. So one thing my buddy turned to me, he's like, that I agree with before. That I agree. I don't even know what it is because I really don't watch shit. And then, of course, he finishes it with, Make America Great Again, President Donald J. Trump. And, a word from our God King himself, the great Lord Emperor Donaldo Joseph Trump. Let's get back to Megyn Kelly's amazing. I have not seen the full thing, so I'm very curious to see how this is.
Super Bowl halftime show. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, said Donald Trump. A slap in the face to our country. Trump didn't comment on the alternative all-American halftime show staged by Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA, presumably because he was watching Bad Bunny. And the truth is that both the alternative show and the president's statement felt like they were contrived as a response to something which ultimately didn't happen. Many expected Green Day and Bad Bunny to use the biggest show in the world of television to skewer the president and rail against ICE. But actually they didn't. Now, I'm no Bad Bunny apologist. I didn't know much about.
Yeah, dude, the right, they just did not have the sauce this time to really come after the Super Bowl the way that they traditionally would have loved to do, because it was not a middle finger to white people or anything like that. It was a celebration, right, of culture. People who are like getting angry about this are not getting angry for the same type of fuck white people type of rhetoric that came from back in the day, like the Colin Kaepernick shit or a black national anthem or anything like that. You know, this was a much more, you know, and the poster or the billboard that was behind Bad Bunny, what did it say? Yeah, and this is what was, you know, on the whatever you want to call it, the big screen for the big game, was a message that said the only thing more powerful than hate is love. It's very, very fun seeing all of the worst people you know come out against a very unifying message.
And also don't speak Spanish, but I actually really enjoyed his performance. I thought the staging, the choreography, the theatre was the best I've ever seen in a halftime show. And actually, the message was about togetherness and love and unity. What's wrong with that? He didn't perform in Spanish to prove a point. He
also to the people saying there was not a word spoken in Spanish, may I remind you, Lady Gaga was up there. Mind you, it was a bachata remix, but she was up there and she was speaking English. You know what I'm saying?
He sings in Spanish, just as Luciano Pavarotti sings in Italian. The criticism of the whole thing is that he sang in a language spoken by 60 million Americans, including the Secretary of State. Is that a problem? Like I said, the president used to play Pavarotti's Nessun Dorma at his campaign rallies. It even played at the end of the emotional 2024 RNC as Trump accepted his nomination just days after being shot.
Yeah, is that... I'm sorry. Do they speak English in Italia? I wonder why that's a more acceptable language for these motherfuckers to listen to. I wonder, what could it possibly be that attracts the Italian language more so than a Spanish language? I wonder what it could possibly be.
Nessun Dorma, to remind you, is entirely in Italian. Well, I'll be joined by my panel in a moment, but first let's hear from the host of the Megyn Kelly Show. Megyn Kelly. Megyn, great to have you back on Uncensored.
Great to see you back, sort of on your feet and looking so well, Piers.
Do you know what? I took my first steps. I felt like Neil Armstrong today. I was walking along my high street.
Dude, can I just say something? Listen, back in the day, growing up in a conservative household where the Daily Watch was Fox News, man, oh man, did my like little 10, 12-year-old self, she really made me appreciate the conservative movement. And I think she made a lot of people really appreciate the conservative movement for the same reason. Gotta give her that.
I thought as a piece of theatre, it was the best I've seen. Just the most extraordinary kind of Broadway on steroids piece of theatre. I also thought it wasn't remotely divisive politically in the end. His Grammys speech was, but his performance, I thought, was actually a lot of things which I would have thought people on the conservative right would applaud. It was about love. A couple actually got married, for real, in the middle of it.
Yeah, she's already upset.
He was preaching about unity, not just the United States of America, but the wider...
But he was Mexican, Piers. Didn't you notice that?
Americas? What was the problem, Megyn?
A certain male gesture is coming to mind, but I'm not sure I can do it on this show. No, it wasn't about what he was actually going to do during the middle of the Super Bowl performance. It's about him. It's about him being chosen as the Super Bowl performer, somebody who's been an outspoken critic, of course, of the Trump administration and of America and our anti-immigrant policies. This is long before the current controversy.
Why did you go anti-immigrant? Do we not have anti-immigrant policies? I'm sorry. Where's she at? Where is she at right now? Against the Trump administration, let's take a look at this. 56% of the country disapproves of the manner in which Donald Jeremiah Trump is running this glorious, glorious nation. So Why is it bad if the Super Bowl is something that's supposed to encapsulate, America in a contemporary period, like a time capsule, right, for whenever it passes. Considering that most of the country is looking towards the Trump administration as an unfavorable person, doesn't it make sense to get someone who is against the administration to the degree that he is? Following that type of logic, we're supposed to be, that makes sense to me.
He doesn't want illegals deported from this country. Well, too bad, because the majority of Americans do want that and are...
Again, not true. Now, here's the thing. Here's the very fun thing, which to me is something that is very revealing to those who have ears to listen about how this country really operates, is that, yes, if you present the American public with a choice between mass deportation and nothing, they will choose mass deportation. However, if you present the American public with a choice between mass deportation and mass amnesty, what do they choose? Boy, oh boy, it might surprise you, but they choose, by and large, mass amnesty. According to the Quinnipiac University poll, nearly 2/3 of voters, 64%, say they prefer giving most undocumented immigrants in the United States a pathway to legal status, while 31% say they prefer deporting most undocumented immigrants in the United States. Now, I think that's very interesting. What is very interesting to me about this is the fact that mass amnesty, even though it is a popular thing that most voters would agree on, for whatever reason, neither by the Republicans nor by the Democrats is it ever proposed as an option. I wonder why. Surely it's because the Republicans and Democrats are not ideologically in agreement. Certainly not that. No, we actually live in a uniparty system. No, certainly not. But it's very interesting considering that most of the country believes that they should have some form of mass amnesty. Yet, neither the administration, nor the Democratic Party, nor the Republican Party deems that to be something to present to the voters as an option for them. I wonder why that is.
So he and his little buddies over at Green Day never miss a chance to bash the United States of America. He got selected because Jay-Z, for some reason, has got the choice over who performs at our Super Bowl, who's another problem. Don't even get me started on his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Why? Hold on. Wait, I think you mentioned someone else who has an interesting relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. It's honestly crazy that she's bringing that up at all, honestly. Given how hard she rides for the admin, it's crazy she's bringing that up in the same breath as bringing up Donald Trump's name, dog. That's so fucking wild to me.
During our seminal sporting event. And I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish.
It's so funny to me that they would get upset about this because like honestly, who cares? Who cares? Like now they are the Republicans and the conservatives are literally the ones playing identity politics, where before they were all upset. They're like, oh no, we should not have like equitable representation in forms of government or in equitable outcomes for people of different demographics. Now they are crying that there is not equitable representation in the Super Bowl, and she's pulling up percentages of how many people belong to a certain demographic as like, oh no, we shouldn't, those people only belong to this percentage of the population. Like, oh, now she's playing DEI games. I see how it is.
This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latino.
Oh, lady, let me tell you, it was a very unifying event to many more people than I think she cares to admit. But truly, it was. It was, and evidenced by the fact, what's more unifying than this, huh? What is more unifying than this, folks? But no, she can't. Her brain doesn't allow her.
Not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
No, we definitely listen. We need an anti-ICE person as featured, okay? Because let's see. Approximately 60 to 65% of Americans disapprove of the U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement is doing or believe the agency has gone too far in its enforcement actions as of February 2026. So why can't we? Why can't we? If you were just saying that we have to appeal to the majority, of people within this country, and anti-ICE position is a majority opinion within this country. Maybe not the admin, obviously not the admin, but as far as the people are concerned, as far as demographics are concerned, it certainly is. So, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting.
Okay, what is the national language, officially, the national language of the United States of America?
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official,
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment.
Lady. Here is the truth about this beautiful, glorious nation that we have. And it is truly one of the only actual redeeming qualities of this country. And one of the things that I think makes it so special and beautiful relative to the rest of the world is that this is a nation that was built by immigrants. It is made by immigrants now, and immigrants will be its future. That is America. As even the great devil himself, Ronald Reagan, once said, America is the only nation on this planet that you can emigrate to from a different place, and you can still become American. You cannot, as an American, go to France and become a Frenchman. You can't, as an Ecuadorian, go to Germany and become a German. But they can both come to America and become American. It is one of the great beauties of this country, and truly, to me, the most redeeming quality about it. And it is something that we need to treasure and hold, and that is why, at its core, the entire thing that surrounds ICE is abhorrent, and it is, in fact, anti-American.
You don't actually have an official language.
To make it official.
Okay,
right,
so you're trying to make official.
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone. We're not.
Yo, you know what, like, American culture is that this woman is describing?
Hey, where we at? We're at Swamp Fest, motherfucker!
It's day 2 of Swamp Fest. Absolutely turned up. It's a lot more chaotic today than it was yesterday. We got the 30 racks. We got some Crown Royal. We sipping that Canadian whiskey. Backflip. It smells like gasoline, mud, and blood. It's fucking lit out here.
So this is our 8th Swamp Fest. We've been
that is what American culture is. Take that for what you will, but that's what it is. All right. As far as the American culture that she is describing, this is what it is. Okay. So talking about the inappropriateness of ass being thrown around. Let's calm down. Okay. Let's fuck it. This is the culture TPUSA is trying to preserve. Okay. God bless.
Not allowing that here. Whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim, it's not happening in the United States.
Hold on, lady. Not to get off track again, but Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. They can't vote. Unfortunately, they're born citizens, but they can't vote. They don't have the same autonomy as a separate country. We just keep them as a vassal, even more of a vassal state. It's literally a colony. It is literally a colony of America, and we put them and their people in a fucked up situation. Despite that, they are still U.S. citizens, and they speak Spanish there. So yes, there is a fucking place in this country where people speak Spanish majority, and there's nothing fucking wrong with that. With them speaking Spanish, that is. As far as them being a colony, that's fucked up. But she's not gonna fucking talk about how that's the fucked up part about this whole equation. No. She's only gonna talk about the Spanish because when she hears Espanol, she gets frightened. She gets so scared. Her phone immediately comes out of her pocket reflexively, and she starts dialing 911, and she comes in, she's like, what? Oh, what happened? What? And then she sees a Spanish person. She's like, oh, and then she clicks call. Okay, that's what happens with her. She gets very scared when she sees a Hispanic person or anybody who is not very similar looking to her. But that's what happens with her, and that's why she has a problem. That's why she has a problem, because she gets so frightened.
States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances.
Bitch, his songs ain't in English. You want him to change the lyrics for your dumb ass? Are you incapable of feeling the bachata? You can't do that? You can't feel the vibe? It has to be in English for you to feel the vibe. Is that right? Okay. If your cultural understanding and ability to absorb culture is that limited, then man, oh man, you are only hurting yourself.
Or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim.
And it is indeed quintessentially American. Performed by a U.S. citizen who was born in a U.S. territory, who is speaking a language that is spoken by a great deal of Americans in this glorious, beautiful country of ours. Her malding is so funny to this shit, dude. Like, it is just such a stupid thing to get upset about, honestly. Like, TPUSA coming out and being like, well, they have a Mexican guy doing it. We're gonna have our own Super Bowl. We're gonna have our own halftime show. Like, that is, it's so dumb, man. It's such a dumb thing to fucking get your panties in a bunch about, man. I mean, honestly, it is really, this whole thing really is a filter. Because if this is something that gets you upset, you're lost, brother. You're lost. Okay? I hope you can come back to us one day. I hope you can come back to the real world where we're looking at things that actually matter, like people having jobs, people having healthcare, people being able to support their families, get proper education, people not wanting to see their neighbors get stolen off of the fucking streets. If you want to come back to us and actually start getting concerned about those things, we'll welcome you. But for the most part, you're lost. But that's really what it is. This thing is a filter. It is a filter to see who is lost and who is not. Because I know, like I said, I watched this with my friends last night, who are for the most part conservatives, and some have stronger reactionary tendencies than the others, but they all liked it. For the most part, they made jokes and whatever, but who gives a fuck? For the most part, they liked it. They thought it was a good show. And I was showing them the TPUSA, and they were like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my whole life. So, like, people like Megyn Kelly coming out and malding, or people in, like, Matt Walsh's replies, or Matt Walsh himself even. It's just so, it's so stupid. It's so unproductive. It's such a waste of energy and time from, like, all those involved, even including myself, honestly. But it's just so fucking dumb to get mad about this.
Other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken.
Maybe. Maybe. Why'd you say maybe? Huh?
And an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
Famously, every Super Bowl party I've ever gone to, it's apple pie and some, depending who's there, fried chicken, okay?
Two things. One, you've conceded you don't have a national language in the United States officially. And secondly, the language you do want to be your official language is my language.
That's right, bitch! Because everything that is wrong with this country is because of the British. Never forget our great anti-imperialist king, Piers Morgan. Everything wrong with the world is because of the British. The most celebrated holiday in the world is independence from the British. Never forget that.
The language of the country you think has gone to pot. So my obvious follow-up is, Megyn, why do you want English as your national language if you think England is gone to hell in a handcart?
I think those medications for your hip have gone too far. We need to dial back a pill or two, okay? We want something that we can all understand. I don't think Bad Bunny used...
Lady, it's la vibraciones. You know what I'm saying? You understand? Los vibrations. That's all you, Megyn. I know you can. You can move those hips. You can do it. You know it's very easy. It's like that's a universal language right there. The language of the people, los pueblos. You know, las personas del mundo. You know, you go.
His appearance to bash America, but I can't be sure because I didn't see any subcaptions on his Spanish language.
But what about Pavarotti? What about Pavarotti?
Two America haters.
What about?
Listen, here's the thing. Here is the fun aside that really isn't relevant to this, but kind of is. When people like her or other people in my life or other people online or what have you, they look to leftists and they say they hate America. It's very hard to make them understand that actually I love America. I love her people with all my heart and soul. I will never lose faith in the American people. I will never lose faith in the people of other nations. They will always have my fealty to them. But the American government is not the American people. To ascribe America, first and foremost, as its government is truly anti-American. Would you call the government that was ruling here in 1776? If you said that that government was bad, were you hating on the people who lived within it? I don't think so, Megyn Kelly. I think Megyn Kelly would agree with me that that is a wrong assumption to make. So that's really what it comes down to. I love America, and that is why I say the things that I do. That is why I speak to my friends and my families and try to make them understand my point of view, make them change their minds. That's why I'm doing this entire thing to begin with, because I love this country and the people within it, and I see what it's doing to other nations, and I love them the same exact way, and I don't want to see them suffer because of it. I don't think that's a thing that needs to happen in order for all of us to coexist in a peaceful manner. I don't think we need to behave in the way that we do. It's obviously not helping the people here, and demonstrably not helping the people there either. So I love America, and I think Babuni would also say that he loves America. It's just that the American government and its ruling class that we hate.
What about Pavarotti, who Donald Trump in 2016 in particular would use at every campaign rally? He's used it at the RNC, right, as a triumphant tub-thumping anthem. Well, no, hang on. Not only Pavarotti.
I've been at lots of Trump rallies. Pavarotti gets a song, maybe
but
two.
He sings, but what?
Maybe two. Come on, Piers. Come on. Listen, we're also playing I Drive My Truck, I Drive Your Truck. I roll every window down and I turn up every back road in this town. Or what's the other trash song? My town's smaller than your town, and I got a bigger bucket bed in my wall. Got a little more kick in my draw. Y'all, I got a little more spit in my chaw. My truck louder than your truck, and my collar's a little more blue. You might think that you're a redneck, but I'm rednecker than you. This is great music. That we also play that at the Trump rallies.
He sings Nessun Dorma in Italian. I don't see you leaping up and down going, I can't understand a word of it. You're probably singing
I don't remember
along.
him being the Super Bowl halftime show, was he?
Well, would you have minded if he was?
I mean, he's very dead, right? He kind of can't show up.
Yes, I would have, because we feature English-speaking performers at the quintessentially American event of the Super Bowl. We do Michael Jackson. We do Whitney Houston.
Like, this is very funny to me because, like, I'm a guy who, like, never gave a fuck about sports. I never cared. I don't give a shit today. I kind of like the UFC, but also the entire culture surrounding that, the Saudi involvement, and Dana White, and Trump's involvement really makes it difficult to like it. But I never give a fuck about sports like that, like a lot of my friends do. So to me, like the Super Bowl and the NFL as a whole is just like some game that we play that people watch, and it's like any other form of entertainment. But it's not like, how is it a celebration? Like what? It is an entirely corporate ritual. It is a consumerist ritual, if you will, that we hold once a year to watch people engage in sporting event, which is something we've done for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And that's all fine. But to me, it's like a very silly thing to really get that mad about it. I'll say right now, I'm happy the Seahawks won because fuck Robert Kraft. It's just not something that I ever gave a fuck about. And I think trying to hold it up as like representative American thing that we should be super prideful about is like, what are we really getting prideful about? The fact that we can like host sporting events? You know what I mean? Or like the physical prowess of these people in the context of like everything else that we're doing. I don't know. This may be me like reaching, but I think it's very stupid to really hold the Super Bowl or any of that type of shit with as much like reverence as Megyn Kelly is displaying.
We do great bands that love America, like American rap. That's a different situation. This guy who can't stand the country.
So she's chill with Kendrick. Okay. All right. At least that. Respect.
Comes out and starts speaking in Spanish, and I'm sure the people in South Florida really enjoyed it. The people in an American territory, Puerto Rico, really enjoyed it.
Why'd she do the hard T, bro?
Nope. Sorry, Mexican.
I've never heard the hard T like that. She said territory.
Florida really enjoyed it. The people in an American territory, Puerto Rico, really enjoyed it.
An American territory. Also, not acknowledging the fucked up situation that is. Like, yeah, it's an American territory. Why do we have colonies in 2026? They can't vote for the president. Like, what the fuck? Like, Puerto Rico functions as an unincorporated territory of the United States, subject to Congress's plenary power under the territorial clause, which restricts its autonomy compared to sovereign nations or U.S. states. Key limitations include lacking voting representation in Congress, inability to vote in presidential elections, subjection to the Jones Act, and oversight by an imposed federal physical control board. Plenary power and political subordination. Congress holds ultimate authority over the island, meaning it can amend or revoke local governance at will. No presidential vote or full representation. Puerto Ricans cannot vote for president and have only one voting resident commissioner in Congress. Federal financial oversight. The Puerto Rico Oversight, Management, and Economic Stability Act established a board to manage the island's debt, which holds authority over local budget decisions. The Jones Act, this 1917 law, requires all goods shipped between the U.S. mainland and Puerto Rico to be transported on U.S.-built, owned, and operated ships, inflating consumer prices. Unequal federal treatment. Despite paying many federal taxes, residents often receive fewer benefits, e.g. Medicaid or Social Security, compared to citizens in the 50 states. Inability to govern foreign trade. As part of the U.S. custom territory, Puerto Rico cannot negotiate its own international trade agreements. I'm sorry. You getting upset, you thinking that the Super Bowl, because a man who comes from a fucking colony of the United States in 2026 that does not have its own autonomy and is restricted at gunpoint by the U.S. government in the ways in which I just fucking showed you, is somehow not something as valuable to get mad about as him performing at the Super Bowl is so incredibly fucking stupid and nefarious. It is nefarious. And it is a horrendous, despicable viewpoint to have. To prioritize that instead of addressing that very major issue that pervades those people's lives every single day. And you're like, well, our American ritual is being tarnished by this American colony. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? If you think that's a real issue, go fuck yourself, man. Oh my god. If like through the process of learning you don't get more mad about its status, then you're lost. Again, it's a filter. That's what this whole thing is.
But the people in the heartland had no idea what the hell was happening. This is a guy
we had no idea. We were like, what? What's going on? What's going on? Are we being invaded?
Loves to parade around in a dress, who again hangs out with Jay-Z and his Epstein-loving pals, who gets up there when he's not.
Why is she bringing that up? She is defending. She was literally brought up the admin as something to defend, and Donald Trump is something to defend, and she is bringing up Epstein in the same breath. Lady, come on, man.
Bashing America with his pals at Green Day, who are from the far left People's Republic of California, who have never missed.
Dude, she said that like she was calling out the CCP right there. Dude. Famously, Gavin Newsom, my communist goat. Famously, Gavin Newsom, who seized the means of production in California in place of the bourgeois government, a dictatorship of the proletariat.
Chance to rip on Trump, MAGA, half the country, or ICE, and that's something they share with Bad Bunny. That's not representative of what the heartland wants to see. And
Yes, it is. Listen, I don't know about the heartland that exists in your mind, but as far as the whole country, those are they are the popular positions. They are the popular positions in this country. That's just a fact. That's just it.
Heartland always gets the middle finger from people like Jay-Z, like Roger Goodell, who should know better.
Lady, this was not a middle finger to you. It was a let's come together moment. Like, they're like permanent victims. I swear to God, it's so crazy. Like, they talk all this shit about victimhood within the left, but like they act like such children. They act like such actual babies.
He's a panderer who runs the NFL, and that's why you had probably closer to 10 million people turning the channel and turning to the Turning Point event, which was...
Yo, I gotta see the numbers for that because I was watching. I saw it get to 5 mil on YouTube, right? And I don't know where else they were playing that shit. But you know, looking at the viewer numbers, and this is purely conjecture. I'm just saying what I saw. The difference between the view count and the speed at which the chat was going, there seemed to be some sort of discrepancy there that, you know, is, I don't think, insignificant is all I'm gonna say on that. Maybe there were a couple of servers going hard at work during the hours of the TPUSA halftime show, and also, not to mention, it was a trash show, so who gives a fuck anyway.
American, which was absolutely beautiful, which had several references to God and faith and this country, which had a tribute to Charlie Kirk at the end of it, and talked about
a tribute to Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk. Don't forget, Megan.
Jesus and how he can change your life. That's what America's all about. We are founded as a Christian nation. We're still a Christian nation. And what we want is somebody up there to celebrate how freaking special this country is.
Dude, like, it's so funny because, like, again, these people flip-flop, right? Between being like, we are a Christian nation and we are a nation for all people, because they have to do that, because she has to say that we are a Christian nation in this moment because she has to shit on Bad Bunny, of course. When it comes to, let's say, the governance of Iran, for instance, we don't like Iran, right? Because they're like very scary Muslims, right? Terrorists or whatever. When they are a primarily religious country in how they govern themselves and the people, that's scary. That's scary. And then suddenly the way that they portray us are like we're a secular nation, right? Suddenly the tune changes very quickly. The second we're not talking about Iran or some other like Muslim nation like that, we go right back to the full, you know, Christian nationalism. It's the dichotomy between the two, which I think is very funny. But here's the thing. I don't think that either of them are good things. I don't think that trying to base your society off of a single religion and restricting itself to that in terms of its ideals and whatnot is a very good thing to do for either its people or its governance, really. Because I think in the end, that sort of thing is suicidal. I think that, like, going against immigration and all that shit, it is ultimately a suicidal endeavor. So this sort of like nationalism on whatever front you want to call it, whether that be by race or whether that be by religion or whatever other fucking creed, it is a suicidal endeavor. Nationalism is suicidal, depending on to what degree that you take it. I think you can be proud for your country or whatever. I think ultimately that becomes a very dangerous and ultimately suicidal thing for the country.
not a bunch of people who can't stand us. And over what? Over our desire to get illegal immigrants who are raping and molesting our children out of our country. That's
okay. Okay. Without this being a whole ICE thing, and I know I've already talked a lot about, or at least I feel like I did. Whenever they talk about illegal immigration, how they're getting rid of the worst of the worst, they're getting rid of rapists, they're getting rid of drug dealers, they're getting rid of murderers, the way in which that they pad those numbers is that they actually go to prison, where the people who did those crimes are in prison already. The people that they are picking up off the street that you're seeing the videos of, they are not those people. Those are just your neighbors. But there exists a fantasy among the right wing and the conservatives that somehow in blue states, if you are a Mexican migrant, for instance, and you've committed, a mass shooting at a mall, you've killed 23 people, you get up in front of a judge, and then the judge starts reading. He's like, all right, you're looking at the 23 counts of murder in the first degree. Wait, what is this? Hold on, you're an undocumented immigrant? You're free to go. I'm sorry, but that is not something that is happening, okay? That is not something that is happening. The entire pretext for ICE and the entire anti-immigration movement in this country is based off a fucking lie. These people who commit these crimes, they go to prison. And on top of that, to make matters worse, illegal immigrants in this country commit significantly less crime than native-born citizens. And that's just the truth. Think about it. If I am someone who is coming to this country because the opportunities in my country are terrible, I want to help my own family, I want to make a better life for myself, and I'm coming in as an illegal immigrant who faces the risk of deportation, I'm going to want to commit less crimes than the normal person would feel inclined to, because there is a higher risk for me as an illegal undocumented immigrant in the country to commit those crimes. If I'm a U.S. citizen and I commit a crime that puts me in jail for like 6 months, I'm out. If I'm an illegal immigrant, I go back to fucking Mexico or wherever the fuck. They have a much greater incentive to not commit crimes than normal people. So the entire thing is built off of a fucking lie. It is all useless. It is all pointless. Not only that, they contribute far more in their taxes that they pay than they actually receive in government benefits, and they actually contribute greatly to the local economies wherever they are like concentrated in. All of this shit. There's a bunch of things. But in the end, it is all built on a lie. The entire ICE thing, the entire ICE movement, like the amount of money that we're giving to ICE is such a slap in the face to the American taxpayer. It is ridiculous. Where that money could be going to social services for you, for healthcare, or anything else that might benefit yourself or your family, no. It's going to go out to punish people, some of the most vulnerable people in the country who are actually contributing to the community. And you know what? It's not going to help you at all. It is literally just a fascist state work program. That's all it is. It is cruelty for the sake of cruelty and nothing more.